Welcome to Horror Story Society, where the lights feel colder and the shadows feel closer. Tonight's story begins right now. I grew up in a town that doesn't exist anymore. Not officially, anyway. It's still on maps, still has a name, still has a welcome sign with peeling paint and bullet holes from kids who got bored one summer. But the town I grew up in, the real one, that version, vanished, piece by piece. And it started with the bridge. Everyone called it Grinner's Bridge, though no one could remember who Grinner was. The bridge crossed a narrow river that never froze in winter, even when everything else turned to iron and glass. The water moved slow, thick, like it was thinking. The bridge wasn't old in the way historic things are old. No plaques, no dates. It just was. Rusted steel trusses, wooden planks worn smooth by decades of tires and shoes and footsteps that hesitated halfway across. People avoided it at night, not because of ghosts, because of mistakes. You'd hear stories. Always the same shape, always a little different. Someone crossed the bridge too late. Someone crossed alone. Someone crossed angry, drunk, desperate, thinking about something they couldn't stop thinking about. They'd come back wrong. Or they wouldn't come back at all. The first time I really noticed something was off, I was 16. There was a guy named Evan Holt, football player, big laugh, the kind of guy teachers liked and bullies avoided. Evan went missing one Friday night. His truck was found parked at the far end of Grinner's Bridge, engine still warm, driver's door hanging open like it had been yanked too hard. 3 days later, Evan walked into school. Same face, same body, same Letterman jacket, but everyone knew. Nobody said it out loud, but we all knew. Because Evan didn't blink right anymore. He stared too long, smiled too wide. When people talked, he'd tilt his head like he was listening to something underneath their words, like he was reading subtitles we couldn't see. He started asking weird questions, not personal ones. Structural ones. How many people live in your house? Do you lock your doors at night? What time do your parents sleep? He stopped eating in the cafeteria, just sat there, watching, counting, and the worst part, he'd stand on the bridge after dark, just standing there, hands in his pockets, smiling at cars that slowed down, smiling like he recognized the people inside. 6 months later, Evan killed his family. No warning, no argument, no drugs. He waited until they were asleep, then did it calmly, precisely, like he was following instructions. When the cops asked him why, he said, "They weren't mine." That's when the older folks started talking. Quietly, in kitchens, on porches. After too many beers, they talked about the other side, about how the bridge didn't just cross water, it crossed layers. They said Grinner's Bridge was thin, not broken thin, like a stretched membrane. And sometimes, if you crossed it under the wrong conditions, you slipped through the crack. They said there was another place, same town, same bridge, same streets, but twisted. Empty houses filled with people who didn't belong to them, skies that never fully darkened, shadows that lagged behind the bodies casting them. And the people there, they were waiting. They called them the replacements. They weren't demons. They weren't monsters with claws and horns. They were us. After something had gone bad and stayed bad long enough to rot, they wanted out. And the bridge was how they traded. Here's the part nobody likes to admit. You don't get dragged over. You don't get pushed. You agree. Not out loud, but in that quiet, ugly place in your chest where you wish your life was different. Where you think, just for a second, I'd give anything to be someone else. That's when it hears you. The night my sister crossed the bridge, she was 17 and pregnant and terrified. She didn't tell anyone, just took a walk, said she needed air. I followed her, because that's what you do when you love someone, and you feel something bad moving toward them. The fog was thick that night, not rolling fog, hanging fog. The kind that muffles sound and makes the world feel padded, like you're inside someone else's dream. She stopped at the bridge, stood there, hands on the railing. I was 10 feet behind her when the air changed. The river went silent. No insects, no water, no wind. And then the bridge shifted. Not physically. It leaned, like it was listening. She turned around and smiled at me. And that smile, it wasn't scared. It was relieved. She said, "I just want it to stop." That was enough. The fog swallowed her. Not dramatically, not all at once. Just erased her edges, like someone slowly rubbing her out with a dirty thumb. I ran forward, and the bridge split. Not cracked, overlapped. Two versions occupying the same space, slightly out of sync. I saw the other side. God help me, I saw it. The town was there, but wrong. Buildings leaned inward like they were eavesdropping. Windows glowed with no light source. People stood on sidewalks not moving, just watching the bridge. And standing closest to the crossing was my sister, or something wearing her face. It smiled at me, not kindly, hungrily. Behind her, something else stepped forward. Something tall and patient and wearing too many stolen expressions, layered like masks that hadn't been taken off in years. It spoke without sound, one for one. That was the rule. I grabbed my sister's wrist. For a moment, she was her, crying, apologizing, begging me not to let go. Then the pressure changed. Her grip tightened, too tight. Her fingers bent the wrong way around my arm. Her voice dropped, flattened, and she said, "You can stay instead." I let go. The fog closed. The bridge snapped back. My sister came home an hour later. She said she'd gone for a walk. She said she felt better. She said she loved me. But she never slept again. She just lay in bed at night, eyes open, listening to something I couldn't hear. A year later, she drowned 3 kids in the river. Said they didn't belong here. Said she was making room. That's when I left town. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The replacements don't just want bodies. They want networks, families, communities, systems. They come back and they open doors. They encourage walks. They fix broken railings. They make the bridge easier to cross. Every few years, someone new disappears. Someone new returns wrong. And the town shrugs, because that's what towns do when the alternative is admitting they're already lost. And sometimes people come back from the bridge unchanged. Those are the ones who scare me the most, because it means the other side didn't want them. It means they were already close enough. So if you ever find yourself driving late at night, and you see a bridge that feels like it's watching you, and a thought slips into your head, quiet and dangerous, what if I could just start over? Don't slow down. Don't stop. And whatever you do, don't look at the people standing in the fog, because they're already smiling like they know your name. This is Horror Story Society, and you made it to the end. If you felt that chill, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.